friends, and welcome to week 3 of our self-care challenge. If you're new around here, we're doing a self-care challenge. So every week we have a new challenge for you to do, a short video with a little bit of information as to why it's important and how to approach it. You have a really quick, usually like 5-10 minute challenge for the week that you can try, and hopefully by the end of the month you will feel much more refreshed. If you're new, click the link down below so that you can make sure that you get the printables to go along, and you can also see the last couple of videos. And let's get started. We live in a world that has so much noise. Even as I'm sitting here trying to film this, I have a window right here, and outside of that window there is a road, and on that road there are very, very loud trucks that like to come by when I'm filming videos. We have a really loud world. Anywhere you go, you're gonna hear a lot of noise, especially if you live in a city, but really if you're anywhere. And if you're watching this, you're probably a teacher, and teachers have even more noise because they have lots of children in one room. I teach elementary music, and if you don't know, elementary music is very, very loud. Very loud. On a good day, because they're supposed to be loud, we're like playing drums, we're playing guitars, we're doing all these things, we're having lots of fun, but it's very loud. So just imagine for a second that you are with me in my 5th grade class, and we are banging on some drums, playing all the rhythms to go along with the song, counting stars, because that's just a fun and easy thing to do. And then the 5th grade walks out of the room. And do you know what happens when 5th grade walks out of the room? It's silent. It is the most beautiful thing. I love my children, but oh my goodness, the moment when the kids walk out of my room and it gets really, really quiet, it's also super weird, because what happens is I didn't realize how loud it was. Like, I mean, obviously if we're using drums, I know it's loud, but I didn't realize how loud it was until they were in the hallway and my room went back to 0, and all of a sudden I was like, wow, that was loud. And what happens when you have lots and lots of sound is your brain is just like kind of taking it all in. If you're a teacher, imagine you have that class with many students that are very active. We all have that class where like they just can't sit still, even if they're older students. Maybe they're tapping their pencils, or they're kind of wiggling in their chair, or they're doing TikTok dances. They're just, you know, all over the place. And it takes so much mental energy to block all of that out and to actually teach your lesson and focus on the good sounds. And then obviously if your good sounds are loud, then there's just a lot of noise, and it takes up so much space in your brain. And it's not just actual noise, but it's also other noises. Other noises, I mean things like emails and text messages, and oh, I gotta do this, and oh, I gotta do that, and just all the things on your to-do list also create noise in your brain, because your brain's like, I gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta, all over the place. And so all of that just stresses you out and makes a lot of noise. Today we're talking about ways to find mental clarity. This is something I'm still working on, but I have made great strides, I will say, in the last few months, especially when distance learning hit, because I needed some serious help when that happened. And so we're going to talk about the 5 things that are going to help you achieve mental clarity. Number 1 is write everything down. Like I mentioned, in your brain is constantly thinking, I gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. And if you leave it in your brain, it continues in your brain. And I do this sometimes. I'm like, okay, I need to do this, and I need to do this, and I need to do this. And then 5 minutes later, I repeat it to myself again, and then I repeat it to myself again so that I don't forget. But here's the magic. If you write it down, then you won't forget, because it's written down. And you don't have to keep thinking the list over and over and over to make sure that you don't forget anything. And if you did forget something the first time, you can add it to the list, and it's a lot easier. So number 1 is just write everything down. If you have lots of tasks to do, make a to-do list. If you have a lot of just thoughts in your brain, write them down. If you are like me and you have all the ideas all of the time, because I do have, you know, this YouTube channel and blog and Teachers Pay Teachers store, and all of those things make me think ideas all the time, and I'm always like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, and I have way too many ideas. So write them all down, get them out of your brain and onto the paper so that you can focus on other things and your brain will be a little more clear. Number 2 is schedule everything out. If you've been around my channel, that one didn't shock you. I think I include this on every list for everything. Scheduling things out is so important and so helpful. It's one thing to make a to-do list. It is entirely another thing to actually think through, what time am I gonna do these things? And what day am I gonna do all these things? Am I gonna get them all done today? Because a lot of time we make really long lists that we couldn't possibly finish today. What I do at school is I actually have a weekly to-do list, and on that to-do list I purposely made the spots really small because if I run out of space on a day, then I know I need to put things on tomorrow. If I can already see that I don't have enough time today to do something, I'm gonna schedule it for tomorrow so that I'm not stressing out today about how long my to-do list is. Instead, I'm like, oh, cool, I'll do it tomorrow. Now, of course, you do have to actually get it done tomorrow because you can't just keep saying that you're gonna do things tomorrow and never actually do things. But still, the point being, make sure that you are scheduling them out so you can see what you have time for, and you can also make sure that you do it. If you say, okay, I'm gonna vacuum the house at 3 o'clock, that's a lot different than like, oh, I need to vacuum. Because, oh, I need to vacuum is like whenever I feel like it. So when I come home, maybe I want a snack, and maybe I want to watch TV, and maybe I'm tired and I want to lay down. Okay, but if I say I'm gonna vacuum at 3 o'clock, then it's more like an appointment. So I'm more likely to actually get it done. Along with scheduling, you should schedule out your procrastination. What does this mean? This is something I got from Gillian Perkins, who is a YouTuber that I love, and she talks all about online business. So if you're an online business person, go check her out. And if not, then that's fine, this is still useful. So she always says procrastinate ahead of time. What I mean by that is if today is Monday and something is due on Friday, you know when I'm probably gonna do it? Probably on Thursday. That way, if I don't finish it, I still have Friday to do it. But I'm not gonna put it on my list on Monday if I know realistically I'm not gonna do it on Monday because it's not due till Friday. So procrastinate ahead of time, schedule out your procrastination by scheduling things days in ahead when they actually need to get done. Because if you try to do it today, you're gonna be like, I don't actually have to do it, and you're probably not gonna finish it. And then it's just gonna take you longer because then on another day you have to go back in and actually do it. Or you might think you finished it and get to Friday and realize you been there, done that. So schedule those things ahead of time. Schedule them when you're actually going to do them, and make sure you don't have too many things to do. Number 3 is kind of the opposite, and that is take care of things when they happen. This is probably the one I'm the worst at, but I'm working on it. What I mean by that is things like if you get an email and you need to reply to it right now while you're reading it. Don't look at it and then be like, oh, I'll reply to it later, because either 1, you're going to forget about it, or 2, you're going to think about it every time you come by, and it's going to take up mental space. It's kind of like, I know we've all been there, when maybe you put like the mail or like a kid's toy or something on the kitchen counter. That doesn't go on the kitchen counter. You put it on the kitchen counter and you think, oh, I'll take that upstairs. And then tomorrow you walk by and you're like, oh, I need to take that upstairs. And then the next day you walk by, oh, I need to take that upstairs. And the next day, oh, I need to take that upstairs. Every time you walk by it, it's taking up more room in your brain. And by the time you think that you need to take it upstairs, you could have just already taken it upstairs. Like, it would have taken less time. So deal with things as they come. When you get the mail, don't just set it down on the counter. Go ahead and throw out anything that's junk. When you get an email or a text, answer it immediately. That's probably the one I'm the worst at, but we're working on it. If you have things that you want to get done, just do them when they're there. You know, pick that thing up, clean that thing now, so that you don't have to keep thinking, oh, I need to do that, oh, I need to do that, oh, I need to do that, oh, I need to do that. Because it's just going to take up more space in your brain. If you can't do it right this second, then go ahead and write it down or schedule it out so that you can do it later, but actually get it done. Number 4 is turn off the noise. There is so much noise in our world, and even when you're not at school, you might be home and someone's watching TV and somebody else is on their phone, and there's just all these noises everywhere. Turn them off. Yeah. If the TV is on and you're not watching it, turn it off. consider spending a little bit of time in silence instead of listening to music. Now, I love music. Clearly, I'm a music teacher, so I love it enough that I teach it to kindergartners, but having music all of the time on top of all the noise at school and all the noise in the car and all the noise outside and all the noise of your family can just take up more space in your brain. So consider spending a little bit of time without noise. I personally find that in the morning, I am more apt to go with music, whereas in the afternoon when I'm kind of a little more noised out, I prefer a little bit of silence. Now, that doesn't mean you can't ever listen to music or you can't ever listen to a podcast or watch TV. It just means have a little bit of silence. And especially if you get that feeling of like, oh, my brain is full, try turning off the noise. If you have kids, send them in the backyard, or send them to their room to play, or tell them you're playing the quiet game. Come up with something so that you can just have a few moments of peace. And number 5 is also the hardest thing for me because I have all the things that I need to do, and that is work on one thing at a time. This is something I really learned during distance learning the first time, because we had a lot of trainings that we would do, and so basically I would have like a training open and then I would have like my lesson plan open, and I'm trying to write my lesson plan and find fun activities and listen to the training all at one time, and it just left me feeling frazzled. I would get to the end of the day and I'm like, I can't even function. And what it came down to was that there were just too many tabs open, both on the computer and also in my brain. Your brain really and truly can only focus on one thing at a time. So if you're multitasking, that means that your brain is switching between 2 different things. Instead, work on one thing, finish that up, then work on the other. This goes for emails too. I know I just told you, email back directly, but only check your emails at certain times. I check my email first thing in the morning, at lunch, and then usually in the afternoon. Sometimes I'll throw in a 4th one in there, but the point is that I'm not typing a lesson plan and then hearing the ding and going straight over to my email. If I'm typing a lesson plan, I'm typing a lesson plan, and that's all I'm doing. If you're looking for resources, look for resources, but don't have extra noise going on. And all of those things that seem very simple, just really try to hone in on doing one thing at a time. You'll get them done faster, you'll get them done better, and you'll feel better. All right, for your action item for today, your job is to find a few moments where you can trade noise and screen time for something quiet. So if you normally maybe scroll on Instagram before you go to bed, then replace that with reading a book or replace that with meditating. If you normally spend 2 hours watching TV in the afternoon, then cut it down to 1 and spend your other hour doing something that's not screen related. Play a board game with your kids or go for a walk or something. The quieter you can get, the better, but it's totally fine to do things along with other people. Just try to find some time where you can trade some screens and some noise for quieter activities that are non-technology related. Especially if you are distance learning like I am, it is going to really help clear up your brain because you're staring at screens all day. And if you can just stop staring at screens for a little bit, it's gonna make a huge difference. In your printables, there is a spot for each day for you to pick how long you're gonna do this, when you're gonna do this, and what you're going to do instead. So what activity are you replacing? Is it that time before bed? Is it first thing in the morning watching the news? Is it in the evening watching reruns of Friends? Because y'all, I mean, I love Friends, but maybe just cut one out. You don't have to completely give up screens, just a little bit of time. See if you can switch it for something different. It will really make a big difference. I'll be doing it too, and I can't wait to see how you're feeling next week for our last week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. The moment when they walk out of my room and all of a sudden my room gets... I told you.